Hey guys, how's it going? Ghostly Rich here again today, and today I'm going to be checking out this furnace. This is my furnace, and what's been happening is, well, as you can hear, the blower motor is working. It's actually pushing air throughout the house, but it's cold air. Now, this is one of those electronic igniter style furnaces, so it doesn't actually have a pilot light that stays on all the time. So it's not because the pilot light's out, it's simply because I'm thinking it's this thermosistor is just basically not reading. Sometimes they get a soot buildup I've been reading a lot on, and you just have to sand it a little bit and it should work for a little while longer. Of course, it has to happen in the middle of winter, right? So, first thing you need to know is you're going to see a louvered plate. See this? And all you do is you lift it up and off this edge. Put it off to the side. Don't take off the bottom one unless you want to clean it. If you're going to do that, first you need to do this. As you can see, it's still running. Well, we need it to stop running. So, first thing to do, I have a switch here. This is my light switch. This is the furnace. How you know it's the furnace? That's how. So, now that we've done that, everything's off except for the gas. If you really want to, you can turn this. As you can see, mine just has a quick turner right here, and you'll see it says off now. Now that it says off, we've turned the gas system off, we've turned the electrical system off. Next thing to do is one thing you should do is, of course, check your filter at this time if you haven't. I've got videos on that. I'm sure you know how. You just slide it out, looks like this, put it off to the side. I've got a dummy filter in there right now just for now while I'm troubleshooting this. And then, of course, if you want to clean off this edge, just lift this and you can clean off all in there if you really want to. Again, this is your blower unit, and I mean, for me, I know my blower unit's working. So I'm going to make sure that bottom line's up, and I'm just going to put this on like this. And as you can see, it's completely sealed along the edge. The bottom doesn't kick out. So this is sitting properly. Next thing we need to do, again, just checking. Yep, everything's off. That's off. Okay, checklist is done. If you really want to, you could turn off the breaker, but I really don't see a point in it. Next thing we need to do, get down here. Now, with me, I can see this is my igniter, and that is basically your little thermosistor, which is telling the thermostat temperature and also saying if there's like a pilot and stuff like that. This is your roll-off sensor. So I guess if the gas is rolling off and stuff like that, it's gonna, let the main brain know, which is, of course, in this compartment. Again, let's just show you that. There isn't a lot to an HVAC system, but there's the blower, the capacitor, and there is the thing that runs everything. That's your little general furnace control right there. So, again, just so you can kind of know, this stuff you can kind of ignore in this instance. Now, how I knew it was this is when I would start it, would, when I would turn the switch back on with the gas on, you'd hear it spark, and you'd hear the gas go. Like, you could hear the gas going, you could hear it spark, and then it would just not do anything. And then it'd do it again every minute. And then eventually it would just say, you know what, screw it, and start pumping cold air throughout the house. So, I have a feeling it's just not reading flame, so let's pull this. Now, with mine, it looks like it's just a little... almost looks like maybe a 5.5 or a 7, and plus it's got a flat blade on top if you just want to do it with a flat blade. So I'm going to pop the sensor out of here. First thing I'll do, take the clip off. Again, only take one clip off at a time so you don't lose track of which clip goes to where. So I just had a little 1/4 inch screw right here, loosen it with a 1/4 inch little ratchet, pull it out, and look at that. Doesn't look too bad, but still, as you can see, it's darker along it. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to sand it down a little bit. And then I'm also going to test it with a multimeter. Just make sure everything's working good. So I pulled out the thermosistor there, cleaned it up, and it still wouldn't do anything. So that's why I didn't bother even recording it. Now what I did do is I pulled out my igniter, and literally the damn thing fell apart in my hand. So, I think I found the problem that's wrong with my furnace. I'm going to try a new igniter. Again, I was taking a look online and people are saying, hey, it should be glowing and stuff like that. Well, guess what? It was not. So for me, I know it's my igniter now. So next thing to do is order an igniter and or pick one up from the local place. I'm hoping I've got one locally. And if this fixes it, I'll add that to the end of the video. All right, guys, fast forward to today and I have the new one. So this was the old one, as you guys remember from yesterday. This is the new one that I just picked up. Now when you buy the new one, since I buy a better kind of universal one, has different connectors, all I did is of course said, hey, that's the connector I want, and that is the connector it came with. So I'm just going to put this back in, so it's just as easy as sliding it in and tying in that one bolt again, and then we'll plug it in and let's hope that fixes the problem. Guess what, guys? Success! My igniter was blowing. So if you have the same furnace as me, I don't really have a furnace plate. I was kind of looking for it. All I know is I have an RJ2. I kind of looked up stuff, and the RJ2 used this one, and all I did is I pulled out the igniter and it told me the name of it. This one was a Carbo, so CARBO 0206 DC. I did not want to reuse that because that was like I said, I was taking a look at it. It seemed cheaper, and I tried to look it up and I couldn't find anything, so I found a universal part number by looking it up. Once I looked it up and I got the universal part number, I looked it up and everyone had these ones that were made by right here, Supco, and it was Nordyne, and the part number is right here. I think that was it. That was the universal part number, was 902661, and by looking up the 902661 I got a universal one. Literally this is how hard it is to put it in. You take out that one screw that's holding the igniter in, and once you take that screw out, you pull this out, unclip it, put it back, put the new one in, put the screw in, click it in, and then that's it. Just make sure you follow the procedures that I showed. Now when you put your new igniter in, don't forget to turn on your gas after you switch that knob back to on, because remember, we turned it off. You're gonna go over here, flick it on, and then make sure that you check your thermostat wherever that is and make sure it's above room temperature. After you do that, you'll hear your furnace kick on, give it a couple seconds, and it should just kick in. But that looks like a healthy flame to me. I'm super happy to have heat back and to not have had to spend too much. I think for me though, if you're in the States, it was like 20 bucks for the igniter. Since I'm in Canada, they were 70 bucks at some places, and I ended up scoring this one because one place gave me like warehouse cost at 40 bucks for it. So got it for 40 bucks, fixed the problem. Again, if you look in there and then like you see it ignite, but instantly after it ignites it like turns off or anything like that, that could mean that your thermostat or your thermistor is gone, and then you would want to replace your thermistor. And if it's anything more than that, then you're going to want to call in a pro, because it's a really good thing to do so. Other than that, I'm super stoked at the fact that this is back up and running. It's great to I can already feel the heat in here. In the past 24 hours, my house has been down to like 10 to 12 degrees, so it's gonna be nice to finally heat this place back up. And of course, while you're doing all this, after you finish, and if it's fixed, if you haven't replaced one in a while, remember these furnace filters are usually good for 90 days. I highly suggest you get a new one if you haven't in the last little while. All right, thanks again for watching. I hope this video helped you out with some. This was a really simple one. If my blower wasn't working or something like that, I might have just called somebody in, but I knew it had to be simple because everything was doing what it should. The house wasn't heating. That was the best way to put it. All I heard was cold air coming in, or felt cold air coming out of the vents, and I knew that it must have been something simple. All right, thanks again for watching. Like the video if it helped you out, and subscribe for more.